Hello, welcome to another GeoAI tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do cloud detection from satellite imagery. It is sensor agnostic. That means it can be applied to any satellite data as long as your satellite imagery has three bands, including red, green, and also near infrared. So most of the satellite data have RGB and also near infrared, so you should be able to apply to satellite imagery such as Landsat, Sentinel-2, or you can also apply on other commercial satellite data or aerial imagery. For example, the National Agricultural Imagery Program, the NAIP imagery, you can also do that as well. So this is kind of the result, the preview of the data, the output. You can see here, we can detect the cloud pretty nicely, and you can get the boundary. So in that case, you can get the result. So you will know how what's the percentage of the imagery is covered by cloud. You can also calculate all kind of geometric properties. At the end, you can also create a cloud mask so they can mask out cloud area so that it doesn't affect your applications. And it's pretty simple and straightforward. I'm going to show you step by step how to do that. And so this is very easy to get started. To follow through the tutorial, you need to go to the GeoAI, opengeoai.org website, and then go to examples. Scroll down to find somewhere here in the middle, cloud detection. So if you click the cloud detection, you can run this one in Google Colab, or you can download this one to run in your computer. So you just click and then right click, save as. It should be able to download this one to a computer. Then you can just open in Google Colab. Oh no, Jupyter Lab. So here I'm going to restart my kernel so you can we can start from scratch. And this is kind of the entire node examples. Then a couple of code blocks. Some of them are a little bit lengthy, but those are just doing the plotting, so it's not required for you to get the mask. But if you want to visualize them, you can use some of these code examples to visualize the cloud detection results. Okay, so let's go to the first step. First, you need to import the library, or you need to uncomment this one to install the package. So this is the cloud detection algorithm based on OmniCloudMask. If you're interested in learning more about that, you can go to the GitHub repository. So it's open source. You can also find the paper and also the source code. GeoAI basically wraps some of the functions of the cloud detection, makes it easy for you to use and also visualization. So credits goes to the Nick Wright for developing and also releasing the OmniCloudMask package. And so I'm going to show you how to use the GeoAI package to use the function. So all we need to do is just import the library, and then we can download some sample data. You can use this with your own data. So all you need to just change this H2 file path to your own satellite imagery file path on your local computer. If you don't have one, you can just download this one. So just run it. And then if you want, you can also visualize the data in advance. Just call GeoAI.view raster function, and then passing the file path, you should be able to visualize data. So this is what it looks like. See here, this is an imagery from Sentinel-2 covering Knoxville, Tennessee. So this is where I'm located here. And clearly you can see the imagery. There are a lot of cloud and also the cloud shadows. So this is very common in all the optical remote sensing data. You will have to deal with this one from time to time when you are doing satellite imagery analysis based on satellite data. And so in order to do that, next we can just call one single function, predict cloud mask from raster. You can specify where you want to output the raster. So this is the cloud mask TIFF. I'm going to save. So the input, the output, and the critical part here is to specify the band order. It requires the red band, green band, and also near infrared band. So for this sample data, I have RGB and also near infrared. We have 4 spectral bands in this imagery. So the red is the first one, green the second one, and then blue is the third one. We don't use blue. Then we go to the near infrared band, is band number 4. That's it. So this is the critical part. So make sure that you specify this one based on your input data. Other parameters are optional. So the batch size basically means it's going to subdivide your images into smaller tiles, and then going to feed the tiles into the model. So we feed 4 images all at once into the model. If you have a larger GPU, you might want to increase this number. If you have a smaller GPU, then you can decrease this number. So it all depends on your hardware. And so I'm going to use 4, and also the inference type we use BF16. You can, if you want to be more precise, you can use BF32. Okay, so we're just going to use this default one, and let's see how long does it take. It's only take a couple seconds. This is not a super big imagery. I think it's roughly how big is the data? So it's 298 megabytes, so almost 300 megabytes. So it's a decent size, not too big, not too small. And let's see. Okay, it's done on a couple seconds. After that, we can take a look at some statistics. So this is a copilot going to calculate the cloud statistics. It's going to basically use your output. So here, we're going to open the prediction, and then read it as a NumPy array. Then with the NumPy array, we can calculate the cloud statistics. Basically, it's going to show you how many pixels in total, and the clear pixels. Also the cloudy pixels, thick cloud, thin cloud, and shadow. So you can see, read more information here. Basically, the OmniCloudMask output the prediction raster with 4 values. The 0 means it's clear, 1 is thick cloud, 2 is thin cloud, and the third is just the cloud shadow. So you have values range from 0 to 3. And for this particular imagery, the cloud percentage is roughly 13%. Also for the cloud shadow, roughly 8.7%. So it's a decent size of cloud cover. And so next, let's visualize the data. You can just run this simple code block. What it does is to plot the satellite imagery and the cloud detection results side by side. So you can see the result in here, pretty clear. On the left side is the 4-color composite of the imagery. On the right is the cloud mask. And you can look at the legend here. The green color represent clear pixels. So this is the pixel that we can use to do image analysis. White color represent thick cloud. So that means it's the pretty clear. Thin cloud, some is basically just much thinner. So it might be kind of transition between cloud and cloud pixels, and also cloud-free pixels. Black color represents cloud shadow. So you can see here, right, with this cloud, you can clearly see the shadows. Right? So you can see, you can actually figure out the satellite direction. So the sensor, when it's capturing imagery, is basically pointing to the northwest direction, right? So it's pointing in this in here. So you can see this direction. And if you want to learn more, you can take a look at the source code. So it's basically just going to open the data and then clip that to percentile, because you might end up with some very high values and also extreme high and low values. So this one use the percentile clip to 2 percentile and also 98 percentile. And the other one is to create a legend for the imaging here with 4 colors, right? And if your image is too big, you can also zoom into a specific one. So for the next code block, what we're doing here is just to plot somewhere in the middle. So it's in here, and the 1000 pixels width and also 1000 pixels height. And this is pretty much in the center. And also we plot the contour. So this just shows you the side by side. So you can clearly see, like, the cloud imagery. And on the right here, you see the shadow and also the clear pixels. The red color here definitely represent cloud-free pixels. So those are basically just the vegetation. And the black color represent the shadow. The white color represent the cloud area. And so this looks pretty good. It might be overestimated a little bit because it depends on the threshold. So you can actually lower the confidence threshold. By default is using 0.5. If you want, you can customize it so you can get a higher value or low value. If this have a lot of false positive, then you want to increase the threshold. But if they have a lot of omissions, then you want to decrease the confidence level so that you can detect more cloudy pixels. Okay, so this is just the side-by-side zoom-in imagery. After that, we can do some post-processing. As you can see from here, there are a lot of like tiny pixels, right? Tiny holes within the cloudy area. Sometimes for this, you might just want to fill them so that you get a continuous polygon, fill the holes so that you end up with a very nice continuous polygon rather than have a lot of smaller holes within there, right? So you can see some of this example. And for the post-processing, we can call this function called clean raster. So this is a very handy function that allows you to clean up raster segmentation results. And it's going to fill the holes and also can remove small objects. If you want, you can press Shift tab on your keyboard. Here you can customize some parameters. So for example, you can specify the minimum island size. So basically, by default is 100 pixel. That means within the big polygon, if there's a hole, an island inside with less than 100 pixel, it's going to be filled by this algorithm. And so if you have a multi-band imagery, you can also specify the band index for here because it's a single band, so we don't need to do anything. You can just run it and it's going to generate the clean mask results. Then after that, we can convert this one to vector. So call this Raster-to-vector function. So this one is going to create the original vectorization result. After that, we can call this smooth vector. Smooth vector, basically, if your objects end up with a lot of zigzags, so pixelated boundaries, you might want to smooth them. This function is particularly useful for smoothing features that kind of are very natural, not human. For example, buildings, then we want to use the regularized function. For this smooth function is useful for smoothing, for example, cloud boundaries or water, for example, other boundaries that are pretty natural, very smooth. If you want to control how smooth it is, you can control the smooth iteration. By default, it is 3, but if it is smoothing too much, you can decrease to 1. If you want even more smoother, then you can increase this number, but usually 3 is pretty sufficient. Okay, so now we have the smoothing vector polygon. Next step, we can actually look at the result. Just call this view vector interactive, and then we can provide this vector data. The tiles, we're going to use our original data, but we're going to visualize them using force color composite. So here is 4, 1, 2, and also specify the maximum values because by default it's going to use the percentile, but in this imagery, because we have cloud, so the cloud is going to have high reflectance, so the value is actually pretty high. But if you just want to highlight without this one, the imagery might look pretty dark. So that's why we set this max value. So in that case, now we can clearly see the vegetation and also the cloud. Look at this, looks pretty good. If you zoom in, I think it's a little bit overestimated, but overall it looks pretty good. So you can zoom, you can move around, you can take a look at the result. When you hover your mouse, it's going to show you, for example, even for the color. So you can see, for example, for this one is cloud class 3. Oops. What is all class 3? Oh, maybe the raster, it should not be all class 3. Something might be off. So here, right, 0, 1, 2, 3. So cloud shadows. Not quite sure why it's all. I think the image here, this one is right. Maybe the vectorization has some issues. Might need to look into this one. But if you just want to overall just want to create a cloud mask, then you don't have to worry about which category. If you want to compare them side by side, you can use the create split map function. So in this one, you can just do it like this. This is what I showed you at the beginning, right? So you can have this split map, so they can compare the data side by side. When you hover how your mouse is going to be highlighted as yellow color, so this is very good for comparing data side by side, before and after events, or it can be any data layer, so it can be vector and raster, vector and vector, or can be both raster, so it depends on what you need. And here we customize the visualization parameters, right? So you can specify, okay, I want the cloud cover, the boundary to be cyan color, and then the field opacity to be 0.2. Also, you can, on the right here, you can specify the visualization for the satellite imagery. So feel free to customize these two if necessary. And this is basically the result, basically the cloud detection result. And if you want to do some follow calculation, you can do that as well. But this all look pretty nice because it has been cleaned up and also few small holes, so you don't really see a lot of small holes within the imagery. All right, so the next step, if you want, this is optional, you can add geometry properties. So this one basically going to calculate all the geometry property, the size, the length, the perimeter, bounding boxes, orientation, or something like that. So if you are interested in some of those geometry properties, you can just calculate this one, and then you can even describe it, call the describe function. So in this way, you can count how many objects, right? So in total, there are 1,620 objects. And you can also see the size, the minimum, the maximum, the median, the mean, or something like that. So this is useful if you just want to study cloud. You want to see more detailed information. This can help you. Lastly, we can create a cloud-free mask. But earlier, if you already have the polygons, it's already a mask. But if you want to see them, like compare them side by side, so this is going to be useful. So you can clearly see now we have combined all the cloud together as one single category. So the red color here represent cloud, and the green color represent the cloud-free pixels. You can compare them side by side with the Sentinel-2 imagery here on the left. So it looks pretty decent. And this is how you can easily detect cloud using GeoAI and also the OmniCloudMask package. And this is sensor-agnostic, so that means you can apply to any satellite data or aerial imagery as long as you have the red, green, and also the near-infrared band. You can also apply this one to a large imagery. As you can see here, this one is a 300 megabyte data set. It's pretty quick, only a couple of seconds. So you're welcome to try data like the original satellite data that has multi gigabytes. It should work as well. And so as you can see, it's pretty simple and straightforward. Just a couple functions. You can get the result and then run some statistics. Then join the cloud mask so they can mask out the cloud. And then you can use the cloud-free pixels for your image analysis. Okay, so that's all for this video. I hope you find it useful. I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.